Q has this very special talent
I love doing
of
it.
just turning it on.
Love it.
And you're not paying no attention, and then something ends up in the final cut.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. All right, Q, you ready? All right, ready? All right, give me a count.
I hate doing this.
No, I'm. You know what? I
Well-
want him to do it because it makes all of us feel so cool. Okay. All right.
3, 2, 1. Action.
Sick.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Caleb with HunterBoyz Outdoors. We are so excited to bring you another episode today. Are you okay, Q?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
No, I hit the camera.
Ah!
That's an action. I hit the camera.
Bing.
All right, you good though? All right. Well, hey, we're off to a little bit of a rougher start here than normal. Sometimes when you have those people around you that you have such a great connection with, and have some really great memories with, you know, it just seems like, you know, you can just roll with the punches and it just is super smooth. But I'm very proud to actually have a very special guest on today, Mr. Vladimir Hardy.
Good to see you again, dude.
Oh my God, that was scary.
I better
That was-
watch out.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know my own strengths.
Those gains getting to you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so I'm very excited because I guess to kind of just set the tone. If it wasn't for this guy, we wouldn't have HunterBoyz. And I actually do mean that. Like that is like the realest statement possible. He pushed me and was like, "No, I think you should do this." Obviously, things were a lot different, you know,
Yeah.
back then as far as like vision and like what we were trying to do.
Yeah, we were poking around a lot, trying to figure out what we wanted our foundation to be, and you know, since then there's been so many strides in the right direction for what HunterBoyz wants to do, and not only that, but from a content standpoint, it looks miles and miles from where we started, dude, and it looks incredible, and I'm just vastly, immensely impressed, and that's the hard work of Nicholas Queiroz and
No kidding.
old Caleb Morrison over here. And I'm really, really proud to see the work you guys are doing.
No, absolutely. No, and thank you for that compliment, man. Man, I can't tell you how many times it's like I'll call him, or I'll say him. Sorry, guys. I'll call Q, and there's just frustration in like both of our voices. You know what I mean? And it's because I think at the end of the day we care about what we're doing, and we want to do it as best as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when you have the drive and you have the passion, but either something in your skill set is lacking or even funding.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, like, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at him and I'm like, dude, if we just had this, and we just had this, and we just had this. And
that was a big driver for a lot of the stuff we did. That was such a huge driver for, you know, I went on Big Game Hero, and I was trying to win that it was an elk trip to a ranch in New Mexico, and grand prize of $25,000. I didn't win. There was a lot of people that had.
You got far though. Huh?
I got really far.
Did you get to the quarterfinals, or were you?
I got to the quarterfinals.
You did get to the quarterfinals.
And so it was the last. It was groups of 4, I believe, 4 or 5 people. Quarterfinals. I don't know how many groups there were, but probably the last 100 contestants across a nationwide contest. And it was really cool. But of course, a lot of people that were doing it, you can throw money at it in, you know, roundabout ways. And I think that played a lot of role in what was happening. And I wasn't going to ask people to do that.
Yeah, I actually remember that. And it was once you got to that certain level, it was like you could drastically see how much people, like you said, I mean, it had to have been money, because you could pay X amount of dollars for X amount of votes.
Yep.
Basically. Sorry, I wanted to make sure that was clear. But once you got to the quarterfinals, you could dramatically see, like, I mean, people were just had to have spending
Yep.
lots of money.
It came to a point where I couldn't catch up, and I was throwing money at it myself, like, hey man, like, hey, uh, here's a Venmo. Will you buy this many votes? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, for my birthday, buy me some votes.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't catch up. There was no catching up, and it just became very evident that somebody had poured a pile of money into that. And you know what? Good for them. They bought themselves a hunting trip.
And what's crazy is that the grand prize is $25,000, but man, if you spend 10 grand, I mean,
Yeah.
is it? I'm not saying is it not worth it, but is it? Is it worth it? I don't know. That's
Right.
that's completely up. Everybody's got their different perspective on those things, but
Mhm.
I don't know, man. It's really hard to justify spending grand
Yeah.
and then half of it just being paid back to yourself or whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and from an ethical standpoint, I didn't really want to cheat the contest, and I didn't want to ask people to throw their money at something that I didn't have any real control over. So I
Mm.
couldn't guarantee that their money was going to be spent in a worthwhile way. Uh, but the caveat to that was that all the donations, a portion of the donations went to um wildlife conservation in the
Mhm.
state of Arizona. So bottom line, they definitely did go to a good cause, but I couldn't guarantee that their driver, me, was going to be the winner.
Right.
And so I didn't want them to feel like they wasted their money.
Right. And it's also hard for, I say, outsiders, people that are around us that are not too terribly involved in the outdoors. It's really hard for them to justify spending money on something like conservation.
Yeah.
I know that sounds so terrible, but it just is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, it is really hard for somebody to, since you are the person that they want to support, it's hard for you to justify saying, "Hey, I need this," but you're not going to win. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I definitely understand that. But anyway, no. So honestly, I would love to start kind of, I say, at the beginning, wherever you would like to start, because I kind of want to maybe, if somebody doesn't know, kind of how.
Let's introduce the relationship between you and
Okay,
me.
okay,
You know?
okay. We can do that. We can do that.
Uh, you moved from Colorado in what year to Texas?
So I wanted to play football,
Yeah.
and so I moved here in Thanksgiving of '08, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and then I finished out my freshman year, and then I came in 2009, 2010.
So it was my freshman, sophomore year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb moved to the same area where I was, and just dude, you were uh, the guy. You were so personable. Everybody wanted to be your friend. You were that guy, and you're still that guy today, man. You're just so easy to talk to, and you're able to relate to anybody over any little thing. And so that brought us together, because I don't. I had a pretty small group of friends,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but you were always inclusive. You're always, because I'm an introverted person. I don't go out of my way to network very much, and I have social anxiety.
And yet you're here.
Yet I'm here, dude. Actually had a hiatus from social media as of late, so this is gonna be one of my reappearances here. Um, but we would go to your house and hang out, and our other friend Mitchell Davis,
Mhm.
we kind of just joined together as a group. We did it. We did the talent show as a joke. Uh, our senior year talent show. We compiled an air band. I was air guitarist. Caleb starred as a air drummer. Uh, Very talented air drummer because he plays drums in real life too, and so the performance was absolutely convincing. And then Mitchell brought it home as air vocalist and keyboard and bassist. And we performed our air band to
Was it
Rush's
Rush,
Tom
right?
Sawyer.
Oh my god.
And if they would have counted us as a legitimate performance in that talent show, everyone said we would have won.
I was so mad because didn't they do that right before we went up?
Yeah,
Was like, hey,
they
look,
kind of disqualified us as a real talent performance because they wanted to give it to somebody who actually did something. Uh, but I think we were one of, if not the most popular performance that day, and it was so funny. That was my most popular day in high school, dude. That was
Dude,
my
it
15
was-
minutes of fame right
it
there.
was wild.
Yeah.
And I think what brought it home is that we were so committed to making that such a great performance.
Yeah.
Because we had like practiced and like said, all right, hey, this is what we're gonna do here. And then we dressed like we tried to dress, accordingly. Granted, we couldn't do it perfect, but we tried to get in that mindset. And so we all knew our roles, and it was just funny because it was such three unique people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just comboed and made this just epic performance. And I know somebody posted it, obviously when we did it. I don't know
Jacob Brown posted it on Facebook, and that was the only video we had. Nobody else recorded it, unfortunately. And I wish there was a high quality video of it, but
so
it was.
amazing.
It's an old iPod, not even iPhone, iPod video, and it's like shaking, and like you can see it turn back and forth,
That was awesome.
landscape and portrait, and it's very blurry.
Dude, but we had the crowd at the very end. Once the last note hit, I mean, everybody went bonkers, dude.
It was nuts.
It was bonkers. And I remember I had like a headband on or something,
Mhm.
like a.
Threw it in the
And I
crowd.
remember I threw it, and they were like, ah! It was freaking. Oh man, it was awesome, dude. I had so many people like, oh my gosh, dude, that was so amazing. That was
Yeah.
so cool.
Like, do you play drums? Yeah, I play drums.
Dude, I remember Coach Fogo.
Yeah.
Coach Fogo came up to me. He's like, that was a, in his whole. I can't even mimic him because he just has such a unique voice. But he's
Mhm.
like, that was a very convincing drum performance, Caleb. Do you happen to play drums? I was like, yes, sir, I do. He's
Mhm.
like, cool.
Cool. And then he just like disappeared
Yeah.
to
But
the crowd.
so yeah, so that's kind of where our relationship started.
Yeah.
Right. And then, man, I'm trying to think. So graduation comes.
Yeah.
And then lives kind of.
Life. I go to school.
Yeah.
You go into the workforce.
Mhm.
Mitchell goes to school, and then we reconvene and kind of reconnect for Mitchell's bachelor party, and that was the first time I'd seen you guys in
Years.
probably about 4 years.
Mhm.
And then we lose touch again.
Mhm.
And at this point, you're in the Air Force already.
Yep.
I joined the Navy. I drop out of school. I work in tugboat, maritime industry for a while. I'm loading cargo ships. I'm pushing barges.
Right.
And then the goal had always been to join the Navy, try to be a Navy SEAL. And so I join, and I'm trying that, and I don't make it, and I get my orders, and I end up in Oklahoma about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years after you're already in, and you're here. And I send you a message on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, man, you're in Oklahoma, right? And you get back to me. It didn't take like probably a couple hours. Yeah, man, I'm here. I'm in Oklahoma. I was like, well, hey, I'm on my way up there. I'm about to be stationed up there. I'm gonna swing by the house. Do you want anything?
And I was like, no flipping way. So I meet this dude after years.
Yeah.
I give him my freaking address because I live on base, and he shows up, and it's just like freaking family reunion. We're all on the back porch. You
Mhm.
actually came around the back, and we gave it, everybody hugs and whatnot, and and then that was from that point
Inseparable.
it was inseparable because it was either you were at the house or Kados was at the house.
Yep.
And then there were sometimes y'all were both at the house
Mhm.
at the same time. And
Because I'm in the barracks at the time, and
oh God, I remember.
I don't want to be in there. I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm staying the night. We're just all the time,
Oh yeah,
nonstop.
yeah. And so honestly, at that point, I'd kind of, um, I've kind of already had, man, what year was that?
That was 20 where I got here.
COVID. It was COVID.
COVID.
It was COVID time.
Mm-hmm.
You got here? Oh, I think it was like June.
June the 6th.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it was June of 20. Okay. So yeah, so we weren't doing nothing anyway. And so, we had a lot of time off of work, and I had still been kind of going through my rough. Yeah, I can't talk today. I was still going through my rough patch because of my brother passing away,
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't and then if I remember correctly, your good buddy passed away like a few months before Hunter passed away.
Yeah, Tyler Phillips,
Yeah.
my childhood best friend, growing up, met him in kindergarten. He passed away earlier that year in April, and you knew him as well.
Yeah.
And I knew Hunter, and we were able to definitely connect and bond and relate over that
Mhm.
as well. And
Yeah.
that kind of brought about HunterBoyz.
Yeah.
Towards the end of that year,
Yeah. So because I was.
or not that year, but the next, I would say. I think it was
Well,
the next
no,
year.
it was. I think if I look at like the day I started, like my social media pages,
Mhm.
I think it was like December, like 27th or 28th of
Mhm.
20.
20? Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure. But yeah, going through all that hard stuff, and I'm like you said, like I'm very peoply, and
A gregarious creature.
Yeah.
Was Caleb Morrison.
Yeah, very true. And so, man, that's just kind of what I did, was just talk. And at the time, I don't think talking was bad, but I didn't really know how to like vent about something like in a healthy way, and then like go about like working on it, and like,
Mhm.
hey, I need you to help me be, accountable to this, or whatever, right? And it's just being young, and just going through a horribly traumatic, experience.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we kind of both had to deal with that in different ways. Unfortunately, it was like literally like around the same time.
Yeah.
And so yeah. So basically, I wanted to get away from everything and just kind of drag people along with me. And so I was like, "Hey, man, oh, what was this? Hold on, what was the deal that we had?" Because you were like, "Man, I'm not quite sure if I want to, spend the money on hunting, blah blah blah." And then I was like, "Well, if this happens, oh my gosh,
I'll tell you the deal right now.
I forget." Yes.
All right.
You've got
So-
okay. Strap in, people. It's about to get wild. Okay, hold on.
Oh man. So, you brought me to Greg's for the first time. Have we met Greg? Have we met Greg on the podcast?
No, we need to get him on
Let's.
here.
Or has he introduced or been introduced?
I have mentioned
In
Greg
speaking?
before, but
Okay.
you can kind of give him a little bit more of an idea.
So Caleb met Greg back in Texas, going to church, and Greg lives up here in Oklahoma. And whenever he got stationed up here, they were able to connect, and Greg has generously offered his property as a place for Caleb and his friends to go out and recreate. So, huge, honestly, thank you, real quick.
Yeah.
Greg Ole, you are the man.
Yeah.
We would not be where we are if we hadn't had your generosity and your influence. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Thank you so much. Your family
Mhm.
means a lot to us, and you being able to trust a bunch of crazy guys like us, it really means a lot. And to have you just say here, this is yours, basically. Like
Yeah.
that's not very common and not very heard of. So thank you.
Absolutely. Um, so we had gone up to Greg's to see this property and check out the ponds,
Mm-hmm.
and we were setting up for duck season. It was going to be September teal season.
What was?
It was going to be September teal season, and I'd never been hunting before in my life. Even growing up in Texas, I wasn't a huge outdoorsman. I was in the Boy Scouts and stuff, and I did outdoorsmany things, but I never hunted. That wasn't something that my family was able to do. Um, so I'm helping Caleb get set up on this duck blind, and we're putting stakes in the ground, and we're like building a blind. And part of the process, we were right next to the water. We were chopping down some sticker bushes, and I was chopping the stuff down, and not thinking I was just throwing these in the water. We're not going to get in that water. We don't care about it. We want these bushes out of the way. Well, my Aggie ring, of course, is on my hand. I chop, I throw, I feel it slip, and as I'm like looking back to like chop some more bushes, I look and just bloop.
And it was a very solid. Boom.
Yeah.
And I turned and I said, "Was that a fish?" Because they had some really big fish in there.
Yeah.
And he's pale.
It's like my Aggie ring. My Aggie ring just I don't like Caleb. Caleb, I'm going in.
I gotta get in the water.
And I stripped down to my underwear. Stripped down to my camouflage underwear, and I stripped down to them. And I'm starting to wade in the water, and I'm stepping on the stickers that we had thrown in the damn water, and I'm until it gets deep enough to where I have to swim. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how deep this pond is. Oh man, this is not gonna be good. And I get out to where I think it dropped. I'm like, Caleb, don't where the ripples are. Don't take your eyes off of that right there. And I'm like treading water, and I think I'm a badass because I just got out of SEAL training, right? I just failed out of SEAL training. And I go down, and it just keeps going. It keeps going down. Oh, it's so deep. It's so deep. And my ears are popping, and I haven't touched anything yet. And I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be good. And I get down to the bottom of this water, and it's just pitch black darkness. I can't. I touch my face. I can't see my hand. Nothing. And so I just sink down into the silt, and I'm on my toes and knees and kneel down, and I just start patting the water, or patting the silt, trying to see where my ring is at. And the panic of losing this ring is really getting to me, and I can't hold my breath for that long because I can't see, and I'm getting a little bit freaked out. So I come back up, and I was down there probably 15, 20 seconds max. And I do that 3 or 4 times. I can't find it. And I'm heartbroken that I can't recover, that I just threw my ring into the water. And I'm like, Caleb, I gotta find this ring. It's special to me. My buddies bought me this ring. My friends from the Corps of Cadets bought me this ring. I didn't pay for my Aggie ring. Hell, I didn't graduate from Texas A&M. I spent the time and built the relationships there, and these people that became my family came together and provided me with a memento of that experience. And I just feel like I just tossed away all of my closest friends and let them sink to the bottom of the abyss. And so I resolve to come back and search for this ring every weekend until I'm able to find it. And I get on Amazon, and I find an underwater metal detector. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know how deep this pond is, but scuba gear is expensive. Let me rig something together. So I go to Home Depot,
Do not try this.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try
It was awful. I tried it for one of the days, and then I resolved to get scuba gear. So I go to Home Depot and I get an air mattress pump and a water hose, and and I'm swimming around in this pond the next weekend with a mesh sifter from Haley's Kitchen and a knife strapped to my side, and and my tan shorts from SEAL training. They got my name stenciled on them, and boots, because I didn't know what was at the bottom of that pond. I didn't know if there were snakes or if there were sharp sticks, whatever. And I'm just like, I don't want to get bit by a snake or a snapping turtle, so let me put some footwear on. And I got the freaking water hose in my mouth and my goggles, and I go down and I'm like, man, it really is dark down here. It's straight cloudy. It's like looking into the curtain. Like I could touch my goggles and I still wouldn't see my fingers on the glass. It was so dark and so cloudy. Plus, I was mixing up all the silt. There was zero visibility. So this water hose is in my mouth. It's crashing against my teeth because it's got a metal bit on the end, and I'm like, this was just a dumb idea. This is bad.
So dumb.
And I can't really get down that far because the water hose is full of air and it's floating, and it's pulling me back up. And I drop the basket, the sifter, and I drop my knife, and I'm like, all right, this is just going down really fast. This is all right. I quit next weekend.
And he does have somebody watching him.
Yeah.
So Haley did agree to let me go with you for just not number one, safety reasons, but also number two, I kind of felt. I mean, I didn't do anything, but I kind of felt responsible.
Yeah, not your fault at all.
No, but but I asked him to come do this with me, and then I felt, because I'm not like saying like being a control freak, but just being who I am, I didn't check and make sure that hey, do we have all the rings off? Like, do we have phones away? And so I felt responsible, and so after this failed attempt at the water hose.
And your he'd come up to visit. Your family came up to visit. Your dad was here because he came out and he was looking around the pond too.
That's right.
And I had my.
We actually hunted that weekend, right?
Did we hunt that weekend?
I think we hunted
did.
one time before you found it.
Yeah.
Because I think you wanted to try.
Because it was teal season.
Yeah, and so it was still warm enough for you to do it, but you were nervous because it was getting colder.
Starting to get cold.
Because it was like, I think in the evenings it was like 60. I mean, that sounds like not very cold, but it was getting like 60. So it started to slowly like step down.
For the water to be that cold and you to be submerged in it, you lose your core body temperature very quickly. And you lose 1 to 2 degrees of your core body temperature, you will go into hypothermia.
Yep. So anyway, so after the failed attempt, you decided to.
So and it was Labor Day. We had the day I lost my ring. Labor Day weekend. The next weekend we look for it. The next weekend, I go down to Texas to pick up some stuff from home. I had gotten in contact with a diving school down there, and they're cycling their gear out. And I pay an obscene amount of money for some scuba gear, some used scuba gear. And I have my diving license, but it had been over 10 years since I dived. So I go and I get my license renewed, just a refresher, so I know what I'm doing, and I commence diving. The next weekend we went, and I was able to find actually the basket and my knife that fell off my waist and out of my hand. But unfortunately, that day, didn't find any ring. and it was spooky because I'm down there and like I hadn't done this in years, and I'm like, all right, we need to be really safe about this. Like I'm gonna come up and check in every, let's say, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I'm gone for more than 5 minutes, something's wrong. And I had a buoy tied to a line, like, hey, this is where I'm at. And I was using it to mark places. I had a dumbbell that I used as an anchor, like, hey, all right, this is our new spot right here, and we were paddling around a little John boat.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Uh, and I thought I was going to be able to see once I got down there, but as clear as it might have been, it was just so murky down there. Um,
I
and so,
remember you getting frustrated
yeah,
because you were like, because I think at one point you had a diving light, or I don't know what.
I have an underwater light, dude,
Yeah.
and it.
And I remember him like coming up, and you're like, I cannot see anything, dude.
Mm-hmm,
I literally can't see anything. I'm having to go straight by feel,
mm-hmm.
and it was very, very depressing and very draining.
Yeah, so I ended up like just trying to lighten my load. I give up on the light, and I started getting that weekend. I started getting cold, and I came up, uh, even in my wetsuit. I was starting to shiver when I would come up and hang on to the side of the boat. And we decided to go ahead and call it. And I was pretty down about it. And the next weekend, it might have been the next day or the next weekend, but it was after church on a Sunday, and it was super pretty outside. It was so clear. The first week of October that year,
Wow.
and we just got out of church, and I was like, Haley, can Caleb come out to Greg's? Can Caleb come at me look for my ring? And at this point, it's kind of just like a pastime because we've done it for, I think this is the second or third weekend in a row.
Yeah. Right.
And so Haley's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Y'all just be back at this time. Uh, and so we go, and it's super pretty. It's the water is actually clear down to about 3 feet, which is unusual, because this is all red dirt area, and so even the water reflects orangish whenever you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
But we got it, and it was kind of clear green down to about 3 feet, and I was like, wow, man, this is the day. Today's the day, and we just kind of claimed it right there. And so Caleb's up with the boat, and he's like, all right, hey, I'm gonna be watching for you. I'm gonna do my thing up here. Let me know if you need anything. I think you brought your fishing pole that day.
Well,
he's up there in the John boat fishing.
So y'all, listen, don't hate me, but
hey, this man loves me.
I was bored. I mean, listen. So we would do this for about an hour.
About an hour. I had about an hour of air in the tank at a time.
And I think you would come up I think we agreed like every 10, like 5-10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I had my timer on, and I would just be there in the John boat, and I'm like, check the time. And I would just fish while he was doing his thing,
Yeah.
So I'd paddle over here. I'd make sure the buoy was fine. I was like, okay, he's still over there. And then he'd come up.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
He's like, I'm fogging up.
Rinse my glasses, my goggles.
Rinse your goggles up. And he's like, and then and I know you felt like a bad A dude. Because you'd go. And then he just disappeared. I'm like,
I look so cool. I did look cool.
Yeah, you did look cool. Okay, so anyway, sorry.
Let's go back a little bit. The name of this pond. So on Greg's property, we named the ponds. And this particular pond is called Dream Crusher.
That's right.
Because somebody had lost a fish. Somebody had lost a pole.
A pole and a expensive pole and a reel.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they were so mad. And it was an accident. But they were never really the same after that. And so, yeah, so this pond had bestowed the name upon it Dream Crusher because it was scary.
It was striking out. It was coming for us.
Yes, it was one blood.
And
for
so
sure.
after I kind of chilled out about the ring, a few days later, I was like, man, Dream Crusher strikes again. Uh, but coming back to present, um, we're there after church that day,
Hmm.
and it's super clear. It's really pretty that day. It's a little on the warmer side compared to
Hmm.
what it has been. And I'm like, man, yeah, today's the day. Today's the day. And I dive for almost a whole hour, and I'm not finding anything. I'm like, man, I got 5, maybe 10 minutes of air left. I think.
Yeah, you were low.
I think we call it. I think I'm done for the day. I'm getting a little bit cold. Let's just. I'll come back. And Caleb's already on shore at that point. He had paddled up and gone on shore. And he's like, I have to stand up for this. I got to stand up for this part.
Okay, here, take the mic with you.
How do I pop this guy out?
It actually doesn't pop. Here,
Okay.
just pick up the. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So Caleb is he's on the shore and he's standing. He's like from where I'm at. He's on the south shore and there's a dam and this pond. I wish we had a you know what? I don't know if you can edit it in.
Oh,
cameras.
100%.
Let's edit in like an aerial screenshot of Dream Crusher. So he's on the south side where the dam is, and I'm up like 45 degrees, and Caleb's like, I feel like the ripple was right here. I need come to me, swim to me, and so I start swimming to shore. And he's like, no, come to me. And I'm like, and I start swimming to shore again, and I'm like, he's like, stop, come to me, and it clicks. I'm like, okay. I start swimming toward him at the angle that I was, and he's like, stop right there. I think your ring is right there. I'm like, oh. All right, you know what? I got a few minutes left. I can go down. All right, I'll do this one more dive, and if I don't find it, okay, I'll go fill the air back up at the local dive shop, and I'll come back out. I dive, and my buoy is, across the pond, a few yards, and so I get down to the bottom, and I sink down to my hand or my knees and toes, and to anchor myself, uh, I stick one arm just in the mud, and what I do is I just start feeling around, and I rotate on that pivot point on that arm, and the underwater um, device metal detector that I had bought from Amazon. You can't hear underwater, so what it does to indicate is that it vibrates and it has a flashing light on it. And of the 360-degree circle that I was making, I got to about 3/4 of the way. And
This is what you're supposed to do, Q.
no. I got it. Don't
He didn't want to be on camera.
That's not bad.
don't worry,
There
Q.
you
I
go,
got
there you
it.
go.
I got it.
All right.
Shoot, because I thought it would pop off, so I messed it up. So of this 360-degree circle I was making around my arm as a pivot point, I get about 3/4 of the way. And every now and then, while I was underwater, my metal detector would go off after my gear brushed up against it because there were some metal pieces in the gear. Surprisingly good metal detector for being underwater. It looks like a toy. It was actually really good. So I get about 3/4 of the way, and it goes off, and I'm like, oh, my gear's in the way, my freaking gear. So I sweep my arm to like move my emergency regulator and my instrument readers out of the way, and there's nothing there. They're already behind me, and I'm like, oh, what? And so I reach down and I grab my metal detector that's just kind of floating on a hook, and I wave it, and it goes. And I'm like, oh, no way, no way. And so I let it go, let it float, and I start feeling around, and I'm grabbing at the mud, I'm grabbing at the silt, and I go, and I scream underwater, like, ah! And it's on my. I'm like my fingers are cold. Like my knuckles are all shrunken up. It goes all the way onto my middle finger. I can't do it right now, but it's on my middle finger. And I'm like,
This was so sick.
I power up basically. I'm like Falcon underwater, like from the bottom. This pond was 12 feet deep, by the way.
It's
That's why I couldn't stay down there. Come to find out, I went off of my watch and uh, the rope measurements we took. So it goes on my finger, and I squat and I launch myself up, and I emerge from the water ring first, and screaming through my radio later, ah! We just like
screaming. Like he can't even do it. Like
I can't I shouldn't I can't do it in here because this pond is on a 100-acre property or so, something like that. We're screaming so loud out of excitement that the neighbors come out and they're like, "Are y'all okay? What? Are y'all okay?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're good, yeah." And I'm just screaming, dude.
Dude, that was epic.
And we had just left church that day, and after we claimed it and we had prayed and stuff, and Caleb said, "Come to me." And just recently, we had been talking about it in our men's group. Caleb was hosting a men's group at the time, and we were talking about how we need to go more towards God, not our direction, but more towards God. And it was just really ironic how I kept trying to go towards shore when he was just saying, "Stop, come to me." And he said it with such conviction. Like, your ring, I think your ring is right there. And I went down and I found it instantly on the last dive. It was incredulous. And I didn't tell any of my friends that I had lost the ring that they bought me until after I found it.
No, it was. I remember that feeling so well because it was. I don't even know how to explain it, but I felt such conviction, and I remember screaming at you. Like, at first I wasn't screaming, but I was like, "Dude, I just really think your ring is right there."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" And I could see like the disappointment on, like, you were tired,
Yeah.
you were cold, and you mentally were beat up.
I give myself a timeline of a year to find it because the probability of me finding this ring was next to nothing.
Yeah.
Because this is a very large pond. Like, if you had to put,
It's big.
it's probably a 2-acre pond. It's very, very big, and given a radius of about 20 feet, even knowing exactly where it fell down, I was afraid that a fish maybe saw it flashing on the way down, and a fish ate it.
And they had some big fish. Like, we've caught some big fish
Yeah.
in this pond. So that was a very high probability. And when you said that, well, excuse me, one of like the 4 times that we went, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling very confident, but then it was crazy because that day I was just like, "Come to me. Come to me." And then I started screaming at you, "No, come to me."
No, Vladimir, come to me.
Yeah. And then I just felt it, like, right there. I was like, right there is where you need to look. It was actually a very powerful moment. Like,
Yeah,
it was wild. And then that's how Vladimir started hunting.
So yeah, because I agreed. I was like, man, I really want to go hunting. I'd love to try it out, but I have to find this ring. I have to prioritize this. This is something that's very special to me. And given the timeline of a year, I found it in 3 weekends, 3 dives.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Because we would only do one dive per weekend, right? if that makes sense.
Because I had to go fill the tank back up.
Yeah, so basically we would literally only do it like once a week, once every 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was absolutely wild. Hey, can you go check on them? Sorry, I just heard a door open, and I'm pretty sure my daughters are not taking a nap.
Oh, that's why you're like. I screamed earlier, making a joke. I didn't realize they were here.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I know. Well, they were doing good, but I don't know if I hear Dexter, so I think I think they woke up. But anyway, but no, that was such a great story, and I I still have like all the photos from that.
Yeah,
like in all the videos from that. That was so funny.
I think we'll get Q to put some up.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep.
Whenever this gets posted.
But yeah, and so after that, basically we had the agreement was done.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you had spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
On like your scuba gear, which I hope you never get rid of that stuff because honestly, it's
Brother.
it's great stuff.
I sold it a few weeks ago.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
What? Oh wait, hold on. We were so happy, dude. Totally forgot about that. We were so happy after we found your ring.
Mm-hmm.
That we found that guy's fishing pole.
Yeah.
And the rod, or
Yep.
and the pole and the reel.
We went back out, and I was like, I can do it. Yeah, I got a little bit of air left in the tank, and we went out, and you're like, I'm pretty sure it fell right here, and I'm like, all right, bloop. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go down and feel around, and then if this doesn't feel like it, we'll move around a little bit. I go down, and no sooner than my feet touch the bottom of the pond, and I lean down, I literally leaned down and grabbed the reel portion of the rod, and I surfaced back up, rod first, like a scepter, and I'm like, you were right, it was right here.
I don't know how.
He just knows where stuff is underwater.
Dude, do you know? I wouldn't say that I have like a photographic memory. I don't think I have a photographic memory, but dude, I think it's just. I think it's just I pay attention to detail,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and when something happens, good or
Yeah.
bad, like I can just remember everything.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's a bad thing, but it's wild how like I can do that, and especially with the fishing pole, like I felt very confident.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, it's the stick because there was a couple like old trees like kind of like sticking out of the water, and I was like, oh, it's right here, and then you went down and boom. But it was such a great time, and so then we get him hunting. We did deer first, right? Or what was do you remember the process of that?
So I was there when we went teal hunting.
Okay, right.
On
right.
Greg's Pond.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
But we didn't get anything.
No, there were no teal. Yeah, I think it was still too hot. We didn't even see anything fly that day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you get me deer hunting first. And I'm using your old Browning bow.
Mm-hmm.
And Browning doesn't even make bows anymore. This thing is seen some years on it, and it's got aircraft cable built into it. It's what is it, like 60 pounds, 70 pounds?
I think it's set at like 60 pounds.
But the let off is pretty minimal, and there's no backstop, so you gotta find the right length, and then you're holding it, and so that got me used to the bow hunting aspect and what it was going to take. And we went out a few times with that, and we saw quite a few deer. We didn't get super close with anything. The ones that we did see, they saw us first, unfortunately.
We did a lot of just
scouting,
basically scout hunting, like so we were hunting in this area, and we had to do certain classes for it and whatnot. I can't remember any like specifics, but I basically like was like, hey, like this is how you hunt, because I had to basically like treat him like somebody.
Yeah, I was brand new to it.
Yeah,
I never hunted in my life.
He was brand new, and so, hey, this is what you do. This is kind of how you do it. This is how you move. and so we just did a lot. We explored some miles.
Yeah,
in that
absolutely.
place. But yeah, so I kind of took him through that, and then yeah, so we didn't really get anything, and then duck season happened. Oh, duck season happened.
So duck season was upon us, and it was a lot of states do this. So Oklahoma has the weekend before duck season is Youth and Military Day. That Saturday before, if you're military veteran, active duty, retired, or if you are a youth under the age of 16, you can go out and hunt for that Saturday. Um, and so we went out. We were going to go down to our normal spot um, where we had been deer hunting because it's a military range, and if you go take the classes, there's not that many hunters. It's for us. It's for active duty and retirees. It basically is a large, like super huge hunting club outside of the fact that it's a base and they have different training going on in different areas. Um, we went there, and some of the people that we had talked to gave us some false information. Come to find out, but they said that they don't participate in youth and military weekend, and that didn't really track because I'm like, all right, well, it's a military installation. It would, you know what? Okay, we don't want to lose our privileges here,
Right.
so we'll take your word for it, and we're gonna go find somewhere else. And so we're already there, and we find this information out after we get there. Like it's hours before we go hunt. It's the night before, and we got to be up at 4 in the morning.
Yep.
And it's probably 9 o'clock at night already. So we're frantically like, oh man, where are we gonna go hunt? And we start looking stuff up. Hackberry Flats.
Bro. And it just so happened that Hackberry we had a bunch of rain.
It had a bunch of rain.
Hackberry was full.
Yeah. It was about an hour away farther in the same direction that we had already traveled. And so, blind as night, we're like, all right, this is going to be the spot. And Caleb had found it on the internet, on the Oklahoma Go Outdoors website. Go Outdoors, okay. Um, um, and we go down, and we're just map scouting. We haven't been there. We never traveled to this sector of Oklahoma in our lives. And the next morning,
we show up at night.
Yeah, we show up. It's in the middle of the night. Like we can't go out there and see squat, but you can hear.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
And in every direction, you can hear.
Dude, that was awesome.
To no exaggeration, hundreds of thousands of geese squawking everywhere, and it's like a roar over the horizon. And granted, it's not goose season yet, but we're like, stuff's moving. Wow. And I'm like, let's go. Like, this is my first day duck hunting ever. I just bought a shotgun probably the week before. I went and bought a Benelli Supernova pump. And I go out with these guys, and we see a spot on the map. And we're like, all right, we're gonna go sit here.
Wake up super early. We're all freaking tired. Hey, was that the same hunt that we got the video of Trevor and Jake sleeping in the bed of the truck? Was that the same day? Hello. Oh, they're both in here. Oh, it's freaking locked. Freaking Toyotas. Hey. Hey, boys. Rise and shine. Let's go. It's a beautiful morning. Oh man.
Trevor was there. Jake was there. Q, I don't think you would come out to Hackberry yet.
Mm-mm.
We hadn't got you into hunting yet. This is my very first day, and we go out, and I don't.
Somehow get this spot.
We get this spot, and I don't know what to expect. I've never, I don't know what duck hunting's supposed to be like, and they're splashing all around us, and I can see the look on Kayla's face, like, oh my god, like this is insane. I'm like, what, the ducks aren't like this like all the time?
So so to give you like more like context, right? I'm kind of having to
Yeah,
direct y'all like, hey, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do this, and dude, I'm so not a I'm even not a professional now, I would say, but even then, like,
yeah,
I had just been out of the game for a long time, but obviously I had experience with it, and I knew how to somewhat
hmm,
do it to a good degree. Granted, it wasn't perfect, but we got to this spot, and basically there's just a bunch of so they have this reservoir, and when it gets to a certain point they flood it, and they just flood all these dikes.
yeah.
And so we just chose one of these dikes, and for some reason we always choose the hardest spots to kind of like get to.
So we're like wading across all these different flooded spots, and the sun comes up later, and there's walking paths around them.
We got, I'm sorry. I am sometimes I can be a little bit blonde.
It was so fun though,
It was
dude.
freaking funny, but when the sun started to rise, I got everybody positioned. I said, hey, look, you got to hide yourself. Make sure you're in the reeds. I'm gonna call the shot,
Yeah,
and I'll just say shoot him. Whatever, right? Make sure you lead. Don't get nervous. Blah blah blah. Well, the sun starts coming in, and you could just, it sounds like a movie. And this is what I think he was trying to say earlier. It was just like,
they're everywhere.
and you have just
Uh,
everywhere.
I
You would hear 'em
wish
everywhere.
I wish we'd already started filming stuff
God.
at that point. There's very few duck hunting experiences that I've had that match up to that, because we had four people out there that day, and if we had been experienced shooters, we left with a 5-man limit.
At like 7:30.
4 men with a 5-man limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was such a special time, and like they would have been in your face, bro. Like we could see their eyes, bro. They were hovering.
A teal landed in front of me, or it was flying, and I go to shoot, and I wait a little too long. Well, it lands in the water, and Caleb's like, Vladimir, shoot it, and I'm like, but it landed already.
He didn't want to water swat it.
And he was like, shoot it. And I'm like, bam. He flies away. I don't know if I might have got that one. I think I got that one.
I think you killed that one.
But I'm like, I didn't know. Like, that's how inexperienced I was. I was like, well,
And
that's
that
not
was
fair.
and that was so that was not just that wasn't just Vladimir's first hunt, Jake's first hunt, Trevor's first hunt. That was Mally's first
Yeah.
hunt. And so God, man, there was so many ducks all over us, and I'm calling shots here, and I'm duck calling, and they're just, and I mean everybody's like, and just going nuts, and it was for like an hour,
Yeah.
and
We
just to
we
show
didn't get
how
out of that area
bad,
till like 11.
so just to show how bad of a shots we were. I mean, obviously, I missed a few times as well, but for an hour, it was just like boom, 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 and we just couldn't
Two to
connect.
5 minutes. Every 2 to 5 minutes, we have a flock buzz us.
And they just, being inexperienced and having those butterflies and everything else, it gets to you. And
I was not well hidden. I had some hand-me-down waders that I had gotten from a garage sale. They were blue. They were blue fishing
super dark blue.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were blue. And those ducks didn't care because they wanted to be in that spot.
We were on the X, and if I had known how good that day was comparatively to some of the days we've had, I'm over the moon about it now.
I know, having those like feelings come back, yeah, for sure.
Hey man, you want to go to Hackberry first day this year?
Dude, if it has water, dude, if it has water, I'm going back. If it has water,
I'm down to go. Like, hell, I'll go scout tomorrow. I'm not even kidding, man. I'm getting 40 miles a gallon on that new car, boy.
Dude,
I'll
no-
go down and scout it.
You're right, no kidding. And so that is how we got hooked.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, obviously me, but they just sunk their teeth into that.
I've been a fiend ever since, and hunting is a part of the person that I am now, and it never was before 2020. I've been alive on this earth for 25 years already, and wow, it is just it's everything I could ask for or want and more, and everything. Like my goals in life have shifted based around that desire. Like I want to own land. I want to have property that I can escape to and recreate. Uh, just and more than
right.
just those goals. But I want to have time to get away and go do those things. I want to go on expeditions to other places, to go hunting, to be outdoors. I want to go to other countries to be outdoors. And it has been such an influence like that. Hackberry, as quick as it went for me, being my first day, uh, and I remember being a sourpuss. I remember being a sourpuss that day because
so
I was
mad.
such a bad shot.
You're so mad.
I was annoyed, and I was like, man, f this, because like we were all kind of giving each other a hard time, and then I shot again and I missed, and somebody ribbed me about it, and I was like, I'm freaking, and I like went away to pout. I went away to.
He went to the other dike.
I went to another spot to go see if I could get some ducks over there.
And
like,
then, and dude, this was so funny. Oh my gosh.
and I missed some more.
And dude, so this is a lot later in the day, and we saw ducks.
Yeah.
And then we hear, and then we see the same amount of ducks come up.
All 3 shots, 0 ducks.
And man, yeah, you were mad that day.
I was steaming. And I didn't know how good I had it because I'd never been duck hunting. So I thought you're supposed to go out and hunt and get a limit. I didn't know. I'd already shot probably 2 or 3 ducks that day. And I didn't know that 2 or 3 ducks is a good day.
Yeah.
2 or 3 ducks is a great day.
Q's shaking his head because it's just the reality of it.
And I'm kind of pouty, and so we start getting up. Like the ducks slow down, and we're starting to get up and walk around to go jump shoot these different flooded fields. And I shot a coot. I didn't know what a coot was, but I found out real quick.
This is not a duck.
Yeah. I was like, and I went and picked it up. I was like, this thing's got fucked up toes. Like, what is this? Because they look like little velociraptor toes that are like little. They're not webbed across, but they're webbed like just next to them. And I'm like, this thing's ugly. I'm like, what kind of duck is this?
He was so mad it wasn't a duck because he worked so hard to sneak up on it.
And so we're kind of winding down, and I already shot through most of my ammo, and I'm having to borrow ammo from Jake. And we go and sit down for a little bit more, but this place closes at 1 o'clock. It's probably about 11 o'clock right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just waiting for the next thing to fly over because these guys are doing me a favor. They're trying to get me another duck so I can stop being such a pouty puss. And we see a single fly over. And it goes over Jake, and he hesitates, and he lets it come back around. And I shoot, and I miss, and it's probably like 30 yards up.
Mm-hmm.
And I shoot again with a little bit more lead on it, and pew, I smack it. And we called it a day after that. And thank you, Jake, for letting me get that spoonie. It was a shoveler. Come to find out, I shot a hen shoveler. It's one of my first ducks, and I went out there. It was a little far from Mally, so I went out there, and it kept diving on me, and I had to chase that son of a gun.
God, that was so funny.
Yeah, yeah. And these hand-me-down waders are not good, and they're full of water already, and I'm sludging and sloshing, and the elastic is like bouncing the water around. It's awful, and I finally catch up to this dang duck and catch it, and we called it a day. And we have that was our first day. We still got a good picture of that
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around here. But wow, that's a what a core memory. You know, even for being kind of sour and like frustrated in the moment, like looking back, like wow, that I couldn't have asked for it to be better.
Yeah, because we shot that day. We shot some widgeon, teal.
Hmm.
Me and Jake hit a pintail.
Hmm.
So we kind of quote unquote shared that one.
Hmm.
And then we shot that shoveler.
Yeah,
And then it was. I think that was pretty much it, huh?
yeah, pretty sure.
But
We cut everything up and we labeled it in bags because we're gonna try the different types of duck.
yeah, and that was pretty much it. And here we are.
Um, Comparable experiences to that one.
Yeah.
Quanah, not Quanah Lake. Quonset Pond.
Oh,
Late in the season. Um,
sorry. He was trying to show me something. He was trying to show me the time. Okay, cool.
we're
Thank
about
you,
an
buddy.
hour deep here. We're late in the season, and I go out and I'm scouting this military uh, place that we go hunt, and I see this pond out in the distance, and I just recently found out that you can drive up in certain areas that we previously thought that you weren't supposed to drive. So I'm taking full advantage of this.
Mm-hmm.
And my poor old truck, man, I abused the crap out of that thing, and she's out of commission right now, but I'm trying to get her fixed up. But I'm taking my truck through the ringer. I'm climbing, like I got like a 2-inch leveling kit on this thing. It's not meant for climbing, but man, we're climbing mountains. We're going through ravines. uh, I'm
Going through some washouts, bro.
I
There's some scary washouts there.
I water forded creeks in my F-150, and I had water up probably right to the doors, and boy, let her eat. She was eating. But I roll up to this pond, and on the map it's called Quonset Pond, and I see just a couple of big ducks down there. I'm like, okay, let me pull around the corner. I'm gonna sneak up because one of my favorite things to do out here is I like to jump shoot. I like to go scout, see where they're at, and then if I'm lucky, if I can be sneaky enough, I can walk up and or not walk up, but sneak up and jump shoot because ducks have really good vision
They do.
and fairly good hearing as well. And if they are alerted in any way, they will fly off and they will spook. Uh, and so I'm trying not to flare these ducks as I'm sneaking up. And part of the reason I like that, I like jump shooting, is because it combines aspects of deer hunting when you're on the ground and
Mhm.
trying to find you a spot,
Right.
and trying to figure out uh, where your tracks and stuff are,
Right.
where you see sign. And so I see these ducks, and I'm trying to sneak up and be sneaky as possible. And I get down from the distance. I didn't have any binos at the time, so from the distance, I see two big ducks. I get up close, and there's probably about 80 ducks in this pond.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh wow, I hit the jackpot." There's teal everywhere. There's widgeon. I'd never seen widgeon up close.
They're so pretty.
Dude, I'm looking through. The closest thing I got to binos at this time is a rangefinder. So I'm looking through the rangefinder, and so pretty. There's ringnecks. There's teal. There's a few cute. Um, and there's mergansers and there's buffleheads. I'd never seen this many types of duck in one place. Um, but I step on a stick and I snap a stick, and bam, the ducks are gone. So later on, a few weeks later, I get Caleb to come out, and we go and we set up on this pond in the early morning, and you would have thought it was day one of duck season.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was wow.
Dude, before that, and well, I guess we'll have to kind of. I'll start trying to close it out, but because I could talk for probably another 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna have to definitely come back because
I'll come back, man.
Because listen, we haven't talked about Mucho Grande. We
Oh
haven't.
man,
We haven't talked about when I almost got humped. Well, I thought I was about to get humped.
Mucho Grande, my El Jefe.
Yeah.
Oh,
we have
man.
we have a bunch of more stories. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked, but so last story about ducks. So we had an amazing day at Hackberry, and then do you remember when actual duck season started?
Coyote Pond.
We went to Coyote Pond.
A little tiny pond, probably about 5 of these rooms.
Yeah, it wasn't very big at all, and we just kind of chose it off of a whim because we were like, oh, we'll just try it. And dude, we were looking back at it now. Do you know what we were doing? Trafficking ducks perfectly. They were on a flight line doing this, and then they were also flying. They were flying north, south, and east west right over us, dude.
And Caleb was on the call, and this was the first time I think you had successfully called in ducks who were in flight.
Mm-hmm.
He started calling, and we were kind of watching him. And dude, from the ground, you could see him crane the neck around. And
That was them gadwall.
The gadwall.
Oh my gosh, yes. So they were on a freaking beeline, and they were high, but they weren't
a couple 100 feet in the air.
Yeah. So they were high. They had no idea, and I freaking and like Vladimir said, they freaking and then they
whipped that neck around,
and then they did a freaking 180, and then they started, and then they came in, and then me and him busted them up. I think we both got 4 ducks that day.
We got 7 total that day.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So we did super good, dude. That's when you shot your first mallard drake, right?
First mallard drake. It was coming in. It was kind of over Caleb's head.
I freaking missed it
because it was coming over his head. Some teal had come in as well.
Yeah,
and we busted up them teal, and then a mallard was coming over his head, and that's just one of those where it was so close you had to be like dead on.
I think it was. I'm not trying to have like an excuse whatsoever, but I think if I remember correct, please correct me. Mally did something weird.
Maybe she would have.
I think she did something weird, and he was also super close, and it was kind of at a weird angle, so I kind of had to come up.
This is her second hunt, so he's like having to actually hold her a lot of the time.
Right, and she, she just wasn't really that. She's really not that steady now. She's a lot better, but she's still not. Q's laughing because she's that's one of her little weak points, and that's my fault. But she kind of jumped, and I got sidetracked, and she didn't like run after it, but she kind of jumped ahead. And so I remember I shot boom, and then dude, you folded it,
mollywopped
it, bam, and then that's the day that you shot my lucky duck too.
Yeah. So when the teal had come in, 3 of them landed, probably 5 minutes before the mallard had come in, and we weren't paying attention. We were talking, and they
and
straight into the spread.
Teal are sneaky.
Yeah, and we looked at each other like. Shoot him! Bam! And 3 of them came in. 3 of them went down.
Yes, sir.
But during that process, I shot a lucky duck, a spinning wing mojo, and I knocked some holes in the wing. You can see the little shots in the wing still.
So funny.
And I thought I killed them. I thought I killed it. I thought I killed the lucky duck. One of the BBs had switched the switch.
Oh yes, literally. And I wasn't mad. Hold on, sorry. Haley's actually. She's like, "Are you still videoing?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm almost done, babe." But yeah, so it just so happened like that BB literally went bing
and turned it off.
And I wasn't mad, but I was like, "Dang it, man!" Like, oh well. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at him for making an honest mistake, because when duck are on top of the water and then you decide to shoot, I mean, you're gonna naturally follow them, and he just happened to follow him right. I mean, he folded it, but man, it was right in front of my freaking lucky duck spinning wing, and yeah, he just turned it off. Thank God.
Thank goodness, yeah.
He was like, I'm gonna have to repay on that. Oh God, it was so
Hey,
funny.
what kind of spinning wing you want?
But anyway, but yeah. So for our last ditch effort,
Yeah.
what do you have a last thought? I hate to kind of end it like that, but seriously,
Man.
dude, like I
Well,
could.
we have. I mean, I'm gonna be back.
Yeah, please. Can you?
Easy money. I'm gonna be back because
Okay.
we have so many hunting stories to share.
Yeah.
Compiled over just these couple few years,
Yeah.
couple few seasons of us being out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Q included. And I don't know, man. It's just I want to thank you for having me on today.
Absolutely. Man.
And thank you for getting me into hunting because it's been such a huge part of my life.
Sure.
Ever since day one.
Absolutely. No, it's hard to find good friends that you mesh with well, especially in the outdoors. And you have definitely been one of those friends. But yeah, I would love to talk about like our seasons and how it's like transpired and excuse me, but okay, I think I'm okay. Kind of got me there for a second, but
he's choking up.
No, I would definitely love to kind of like talk about that, and maybe like next time or whatever. I definitely love to kind of talk about just how things changed and like how mindsets kind of were different too.
Yeah, how our hunting has changed, how our relationship has changed, how HunterBoyz has changed. Because we've had a drop in the bucket about the origin of our relationship and the origin of hunting, and a little bit like a sprinkling of some good duck days. There,
because there's been also some very hard days too. And if this is okay, I'm not trying to go like too deep, but it was also very hard. We definitely did have a hard patch there for a little bit, and life can get very very frustrating and very hard, and people have different ways of going through things, and so sometimes when you're trying to help somebody, it can come off a certain way to them, and then two people get frustrated, right?
Yeah. You know what? I would love to actually be able to talk about that the next time I come on.
Yeah.
Because I think it could be cathartic for me.
Yeah. No, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not trying to force it out of you or anything like that, but it has definitely been kind of eye opening to me, and it's also made me. I'm such a very trusting guy, and so when I feel betrayed, I guess for a lack of, I don't really know if that's the right word, but
a fair assessment for how you feel.
But when I feel like betrayed, I can just turn that switch, and say, well, you're never doing this for me again, or you're never going to do this. And I've had to, not just you, but among like other people, learn what like grace is and like forgiveness and what that actually like looks like.
I'm still learning that type of stuff for myself, But we have been on for a little bit. I think that's a whole episode, a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I'm so open to talking about it. But just for a little perspective, me and Caleb went through a rough patch, and we're kind of connecting our relationship right now because I've been working on myself for about a year or better at this point. And in that time, I've taken a step back from HunterBoyz and haven't been an active participant in their success, and it is success, and I'm really proud to see it. So
yes, sir.
I think they're going big places, and I can't wait to support that in any way that I can. So
no, absolutely. But yeah, no, I mean it. Without this guy, there wouldn't be HunterBoyz. and even with going through that rough patch, like you still have a part in that. So I definitely thank you in pushing me and being like a good friend. Um, and man, I hope that the future we can continue to grow and mature together. Um, Obviously, we're not going to agree on everything, um, but it's good to have somebody that will like push you
Hmm.
to mature and to kind of explore those like different paths.
Yeah.
So no, thank you for that. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. Q, as always, sir. Thank you, man, for all your hard work and dealing with everything and being flexible.
Serious.
So thank you, brother. All right, guys. Hey, we're gonna close this out before we talk any more, but we're definitely gonna have to have you back on. So
Yeah, absolutely.
stay tuned for Vladimir Part Two. And we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and or subscribe so that we can continue to try to do some awesome things for you. Hunting season is just around the corner. So I'm so excited to bring you some amazing content, and me and Kados have literally got our schedules packed because we are going to try to bring some awesome stuff.
Let me know, dude. I'm excited to like I said, be there to support you guys in any way, and also put some ducks down.
That's what I'm saying, dude. All right, hey, we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hunter boys out. Y'all be good. Thank you guys. God bless.
Dude.
Dude, I told you that we could talk for like 6 hours.